What if I told you that your mind is the loudest noise keeping you from hearing your soul? That the little voice that never stops is actually the distraction keeping you away from your truth? Today, you're going to learn how to quiet the noise of the world and finally listen to what you've been ignoring for lifetimes. Your soul. Get ready. This isn't just a video. It's a portal into yourself. The mind, hero or villain. Who's in charge in there? You or your thoughts? Think carefully. Are you the one choosing your thoughts throughout the day? Or do they just show up, run over you, take control, and you don't even notice? Because if you're like 99% of people, you'll realize you don't think your thoughts. You are being thought by them. And this is where the real problem begins. You believe you are your mind. But are you really? The mind, trained to survive, not to evolve. The mind is like that old employee from last century who's never taken vacation. It has one job, survival. It's always scanning for what might go wrong, always anticipating danger, always on the defensive. This made sense when we lived in the jungle, surrounded by predators. But today, the biggest predator we face is an unanswered email or a toxic Instagram comment. And the mind reacts the same way. It goes into fight or flight mode for things that don't threaten your life, but that threaten your ego, your image, your external validation. So how do we evolve if we're always on defense? Short answer, we don't. We survive. And survival isn't consciousness. Autopilot mode and voices that aren't yours. Now add autopilot mode into the mix. You wake up, grab your phone, scroll through social media. Compare yourself to a handful of strangers who seem to have perfect lives. And you start your day feeling like you're behind in life. Your mind starts firing. You're not doing enough. Everyone else has made it, except you. You're a fraud. Why are you even trying? And the irony? Those thoughts aren't even yours. They're inherited voices from your parents, teachers, classmates, past relationships. You didn't even have to build limiting beliefs. Someone else did it for you and handed you the full package with a bow on top. But guess what? Those voices scream. And when they scream, the soul goes silent. Real examples: anxiety, fear, and comparison. How many times have you made decisions based on fear? You chose a job because it was safe, not because it lit you up. You said yes when your whole body was screaming no. You stayed in a relationship out of fear of being alone, not out of love. You posted a photo and deleted it because it didn't get enough likes. The mind loves a good fear-based story. And anxiety? Anxiety is just the mind rehearsing tragedies that probably won't ever happen. It's like living in a horror movie with a Hollywood budget, but no exit ticket. And comparison? Oh, that's the mind's favorite dessert. Because nothing says I'm a fraud like seeing someone on a beach in the Maldives at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday while you're arguing with a printer at work. Do you see what's happening here? The mind was helpful, is helpful. It's an incredible tool, but it's not the master. The problem begins when you stop using it and start being used by it. And in that constant mental chaos, the soul goes quiet, not because it stopped speaking, but because you stopped listening. The invisible noise, toxic beliefs and thoughts. The invisible noise, toxic beliefs and thoughts. The mental trash we carry without realizing it. You know what's fascinating? Some people collect stamps, others mugs, and then there's us, collecting traumas like they're trophies. Yes, invisible trophies, but as heavy as an elephant on your chest. We walk around carrying mental trash, old criticisms, recycled fears, toxic thoughts playing on a loop, all neatly packed in our minds like it's normal. Pause, more reflective tone. And the most curious part? That trash doesn't scream. It whispers all the time, and you don't even realize you're living with it. What limiting beliefs are and how they get installed. Those invisible voices in your head, they're called limiting beliefs. They're like apps that got installed in your mind without permission. Someone said a sentence to you 20 years ago, and voila, the software was installed. Worse, it's been running in the background ever since. You're not good enough. Being sensitive is weakness. Mistakes are unforgivable. And of course, one of my favorites. Your mind believes you're not enough because someone back in 1997 told you your drawing was bad. Congrats. You're stuck in a preschool level critique. And now every time you have a creative idea, Your mind goes, better not. Remember when Ms. Maria said your dog looked like an avocado? And you obey, as if your entire creative life depends on Ms. Maria from 4th grade. How these beliefs sabotage your life. These beliefs sit at the core of your decisions. They sabotage relationships, block opportunities, and leave you with that feeling of running in place. You want to change careers, but the belief, I'm not capable. You want to manifest a conscious relationship, but the belief, I'm not enough to be loved. You want to start that project, but the belief, what if I fail? What if they laugh at me? These beliefs don't scream, but they control your entire life. They're like invisible strings pulling you back. And the cruelest part, you think it's you thinking, but it's not. Tools, self-observation, and journaling. So, how do you clean up this invisible noise? It starts with one simple but revolutionary act. Observe your mind. Whenever you think something negative, stop and ask, is this true or just an old belief repeating itself? Practical technique, journaling. Grab a notebook and write down questions like, what thoughts have been limiting me this week? Whose critical voice is this inside my head? What stories am I telling myself that no longer serve me? Writing is powerful because when you take thoughts out of your head and onto paper, you're no longer in the chaos. You begin to see it from the outside. Powerful closing plus impact phrase. You don't control what your mind thinks, but you control whether you believe everything it says. And that's where liberation begins. Because you are not your beliefs. You're not your flaws or mental loops. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. And when you begin to observe, you finally begin to heal. Silence, the sacred space where the soul speaks. Silencing the external world is easy. You turn off your phone, close the door, send a can't talk now text, and boom, peace. But what about the noise inside? The to-do lists, the unfinished conversations, the guilt, the shoulds, the what ifs, the you're not enoughs? Here's the truth. The loudest noise out there isn't traffic. It's the restless mind. And that's what stops you from hearing your soul. True silence begins within. And it's in that inner silence where your truth lives. Silence as a path. Meditation, breath work, and doing nothing. Do you know why so many people run from silence? Because in silence, the soul speaks. And when the soul speaks, the mind panics because it loses control. Practices like meditation, conscious breathing, and even the simple act of doing nothing are seen today as luxuries or a waste of time. But what are they really? They're portals. Portals to a space within you where everything is already at peace. A place where you don't need to prove anything, or rush, or please anyone. That's the space where the soul whispers what the mind keeps trying to drown out. Silence is scary because it reveals what's hidden. And yes, silence is scary because when you remove the noise, you're left with yourself. And sometimes being with yourself means facing old wounds, buried guilt, pain you don't want to look at. So your mind creates distractions. Social media, to-do lists, endless scrolling. All so you never stop. Because if you stop, you feel. And if you feel, you start to awaken. Deeper tone. Silence isn't the absence of sound. It's presence. Pure presence. It's the moment when you stop trying to be and simply are. Visual metaphor. The star and the cloudy sky. Imagine your soul as a star. A serene, shining light that's always there. Always. But if the sky is full of clouds, thoughts, fears, judgments, you can't see it. The soul is like a star in a clear sky. But if the sky is covered in clouds, you'll never see it. And you'll think it's not there. But it is. You're just looking through the storm. Silence clears the sky. It dissolves the clouds. And then your star appears. Mini exercise. Conscious breathing, 30 seconds. Let's do a mini exercise together. Take a deep breath with me. Inhale through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. One more time. Deep breath in and release. Now close your eyes if you can. And for 30 seconds, just breathe. Nothing else. Just you and your breath. Pause for a few seconds. This is the beginning. This is where your soul begins to speak. Never underestimate the power of silence. Because sometimes in the middle of nothing, you find everything you've always been looking for. And in that sacred space, you realize you are not the noise. You are the silence that observes. Your soul has always been speaking. You are just listening too loudly to the wrong world. How to hear the soul. Intuition, signs, and alignment. Have you ever had that strange feeling like you knew something was going to happen, but ignored it, and of course it went wrong? That was your soul trying to communicate with you. But you've got ego headphones on full blast and can't hear anything beyond the internal noise. Today, I'll show you how to start listening to that voice that, unlike the ego, doesn't scream or beg. It whispers, and it only shows up when you're ready. What is the soul, really? No mystical fluff. Let's demystify it. The soul isn't just for spiritual books or Netflix documentaries. The soul is your truest essence. The part of you that knows without needing to prove anything. It's your pure intuition, your inner light, your emotional GPS. No map required. If you think about it, it's that feeling that arises when you're fully aligned with yourself. No fear, no masks, no need to impress. How does the soul communicate? Intuition, signs, and coincidences that aren't coincidences. The soul speaks through intuition, that deep certainty that doesn't ask for permission. It also speaks through synchronicities, when everything seems to align just right for what you need to happen. And those coincidences, like when you randomly think of someone and they call a minute later, or when a quote at a cafe answers your deepest question, yet not a coincidence. The problem? The ego loves to call that luck or imagination. But the truth is, your soul is always trying to get your attention. You're just too distracted. Soul's voice versus ego's voice. How to tell the difference with examples. Here's the thing. The soul and the ego have completely different vibes. The soul's voice is calm, soft, patient, like someone gently saying, maybe wait a bit, reflect. The ego is dramatic, loud, like a friend shouting in a crowded bar. Do it now or you'll fall behind. Example. The soul says, this job doesn't make you happy. Maybe it's time to start planning an exit calmly. The ego screams, quit now or you'll be stuck here forever. Or the soul whispers, trust your journey. Don't compare. While the ego shouts, look at everyone's Instagram. You should already be there. Remember, the soul doesn't argue, scream, or beg. It just suggests until you're ready to listen. So how you tune in more clearly? Solitude. Take time to be alone. No social media. No noise. Intuitive writing. Grab a notebook and write whatever comes to mind. Don't overthink. Let your soul speak through the pen. Connect with nature. Go for a walk. Feel the breeze. Hear the birds. Nature quiets the noisy ego and opens space for the soul to speak. Try it. It's not magic. It's practice. Start today with small steps, because hearing the soul isn't a one-day task. It's a journey of tuning in, being present, and having the courage to silence the inner noise. And you? Have you heard your soul's whispers today? Tell us in the comments. What's the weirdest or most unexpected sign it's ever sent you? And of course, don't forget to explore the other videos on this channel. The journey has just begun. Inner peace. The freedom that depends on nothing. Ever notice how everyone wants inner peace, but looks for it in all the wrong places? That new job, that trip, that crush. But the truth? Real peace doesn't come from outside. It's inside. It's that intimate conversation between the mind and the soul, when they finally stop arguing. Peace is born when mind and soul align. Imagine the mind as a DJ who only plays fast beats, anxiety, stress, fear. The soul, meanwhile, craves chill vibes, slow, soothing rhythms that calm the heart and body. Inner peace happens when the mind's DJ finally changes the playlist and listens to the soul. When those two parts of you align, the war ends, and a warm silence is born. That's when peace stops being a distant dream and becomes your resting place. Letting go, forgiveness, and acceptance. The keys to peace. Good news? You don't need to go on a diet, run marathons, or become a monk, though that might help. What you do need, let go, that old drama. They did this to me, the lingering trauma? Time for an inner clean sweep. Forgive, not for them, for you. Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. Spoiler. Neither of you dies. You just stay bitter. Accept that life isn't a Disney movie, that control is an illusion, and sometimes things just won't go your way. These three ingredients are the secret recipe for peace. Without them, Peace is just a pretty Instagram quote. Awakening consciousness. A process, not a destination. Remember, inner peace isn't a location on Google Maps. It's not some magical place where nothing goes wrong and no one cries. It's an ongoing process. Waking up each day and choosing to come back to yourself. Choosing to observe your mind, calm the chaos. Feel your body. Listen to your soul. Awakening is daily training, like going to the gym, but for your spirit. Today you're flying, tomorrow you're grounded, and then someone annoys you and you're fired up again. And that's okay. Every step matters. Every fall too. Because in the end, peace isn't a reward. It's your natural state, one you're relearning to inhabit. When the mind goes quiet and the soul takes over, peace is no longer a pursuit. It becomes your natural state. If you're listening to this and something inside you clicked, start here, start now. Tell us in the comments, which of these steps challenged you most today? Letting go, forgiving, or accepting? And don't forget, there are more videos to help you not just find peace, but keep it every single day. What others think, what could go wrong, the future, the past, what's beyond your control, and the result, an exhausted mind and a soul forgotten in a corner. But today, maybe for the first time in a long time, you heard something different. It wasn't just another video. It was your soul raising its hand from deep within and saying, "Hey, I'm still here." And you know why? Because you're ready. Ready to stop running, stop pretending, stop distracting yourself. Ready to come back home. So do yourself a favor. Quiet your mind, breathe, and listen. It won't be easy every day. The mind will scream, the world will shout, but your soul will still be there, whispering your way home. And when you hear your soul, you finally come home to yourself. If this video touched something inside you, if you felt that click deep within, type in the comments, "I choose to listen to my soul." It's not just a phrase, it's a commitment to yourself, to your truth, to your new beginning. And share this video with someone who needs to silence the world and reconnect. You might be the reminder they didn't know they needed. And don't forget, the next videos are keys. Each one unlocks another lock, another step toward your inner freedom. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join me on this journey back